Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Trap Chat, meeting the moment, embracing and navigating pivots. I am so delighted to be joined by a returning guest to Trap Chat. For those of you who are not familiar, I am sitting across from Solita Roberts, the founder of Style to Impact, registered trademark. It is an Atlanta-based styling and image consulting firm helping mid-career, new hires, and young professionals strategically enhance their presence. She's also a speaker, a corporate trainer, an executive stylist, and an image educator, helping women professionals own their personal style without sacrificing authenticity through her signature programs, Dare to Wear and Bold. She's also a LinkedIn top voice in fashion and beauty. She's been featured on the CW Network, LinkedIn News, Rolling Out Magazine, and Shout Out Atlanta. A lover of bacon like myself, also lover of tea, statement jewelry. What else? From Antigua by way of Guyana, and like I said, now Atlanta-based. Big sister, how are you, Solita?
I am doing good. It's a little overcast, but it's still a wonderful day.
Is it warm in Atlanta like it is here in
Uh,
Virginia?
to be honest, I don't know what the temperature is like outside because one day it will be 40 degrees and then it's going
Oh,
to be 70. And we're like, come on, spring, fight back. Okay. So I don't know what's
yeah,
outside, but it's overcast. I can see that it's
yes.
overcast. I'm like,
Well, you
okay.
you look lovely. You've got your bright colors always. I was like, what do I have that's bright? I can't come on here looking doom and gloom and be across from an image consultant, a stylist. She's gonna talk bad about me.
You look lovely.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I'll tell people I upgraded my mullet for you today. Just so you know, I'm at about 80% for you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, so let's jump into our first question. You have had a career journey. Started in finance for 15 years, and now, as I mentioned, you are the founder of Style to Impact. That is an example of a powerful pivot. Like you just from finance to styling. So, what were the early indicators that it was time to make a change? And how did you navigate the practical and then those emotional sides of stepping into something entirely new?
Oh, I'm sure for anyone going through a pivot right now, it's how do you do it right? After you've been accustomed to or you've wrapped your identity around one thing, is how do you now change and
Mm,
switch from that? For me, honestly speaking, when being in finance for over 15 years, I got to that point where it was just from memory. Everything was a click and go. Everything was just automatic. I felt like I was going through this automatic process of my day to day. And I
mm,
wasn't using a lot of my, what I call like my creative side, or I love puzzles and investigation and putting things together. And then
yeah.
eventually I got to that space where my job wasn't doing that for me anymore. And I remember talking to a colleague of mine. I was like, I am so jealous and so envious of creative people because I always thought to be creative meant that you had to be a dancer or a singer or a poet, like something within that realm. And she was a fashion stylist. And so well, not a fashion stylist, she was a fashion designer actually. And she said to me, why don't you help fashion designers style their pieces for the runway? I was like, I don't think I can deal with all them personalities. And so, but the idea of this style is kind of stuck with me. And I started to do some research around, okay, what is this thing about stylists and what is it? And I kind of explored that world, but I looked at it more of when I tapped my feet into that area, it was more of a creative outlet. I mean, I still loved banking, I still love finance, I still love compliance work because I like process and procedures, but I wasn't stimulated. And so I was looking for that, something to stimulate me. And so my business actually started as Styled by Solita, and that
Okay.
was the creative outlet of it. I was posting on Instagram these flat lays of different looks, And then I got a message from someone that said it was actually turned out to be my first client. She was a lawyer. She's like, "How do you work with clients?" I'm like, "Work with clients? I would heard about this, but I guess this is it." And
Yeah.
so just kind of allowing myself, first of all, to explore what that looked like. And I know for most of us, when we're going through some form of pivot, we want to be able to, okay, I'm going to do this thing and I need to get it down to a science, make sure I'm doing everything
Mm.
right. And I think starting with that messiness and allowing myself to just explore it as a creative outlet kind of helped me with the emotional part of it. So, fast forward a couple years now and into the core of my business, which is Style to Impact, I don't have that identity grief like, oh, I was
Oh, wow.
in the finance field, and here's it, I'm doing this thing. And we know that entrepreneurship comes with all its challenges and emotions, but I'm not struggling with who I used to be, but I'm building on
Love that.
who I used to be and the things that I learned in that industry, and how can I apply it to my current role today.
Wow, that's a beautiful
Beautiful.
testimony. Thank you so much. As you mentioned, through Style to Impact, you help women show up powerfully by owning their own personal style. And this requires a great deal of trust in oneself and trust in you. So, how do you how do you help clients build trust in themselves to break conventional style norms while still maintaining credibility in professional settings?
Yeah, trust is a big part of my job, a big part of what I do. I think one of the things that I start with first, because I want to make it clear that my style is my style, right? My style has been developed out of who I am, the environments that I've been in, growing
Mhm.
up in the Caribbean. Like, those are all parts of what makes my style me. I think whenever I'm working with my clients and these women, I want to make that clear. Like, my style is my style. And in order for us to develop your style, I have to know who you are. Like, who are you as a
Mm.
person? Not your role, not the things that you've accomplished in your career or in your business. Like, who are you? What are the simple things? You love tea over coffee, right? You
Yeah.
love to be outdoors. Like, getting a sense of who they are, and as well as what are some of the internal struggles that they're having, right? Beliefs
Mm.
about themselves, beliefs about the spaces that they're going into and spaces that they've navigated in. And so, coming from a male dominated industry, I understand what that world is. I understand what it also feels like to be the only one. So that's part of building that trust and letting them know, yes, I understand the world. Let's now build your style for you. And so that's basically like the formula that I use to work with my clients. And then we go to, let's see how we can now develop the style into what you want to go into the spaces. So you have some women be like, okay, I've been conforming to this corporate uniform of the black and white all my life. I'm working in a
Mhm.
male dominated space. I am the only one. I want to be visible, but then I don't. But I want to
Mhm.
be true to myself. So there's all these different emotions that they're going through. And so we work on, okay, while I may wear this in my profession where it's colorful, it's bold, I'm always showing up this way, you may not feel comfortable doing the same, but you want to wear colors. So let's just add small doses and pieces within your personal style that's going to allow you to show up in the room, still be seen, still be visible, still be confident, but still not conforming, but matching the dress code. I think that's the
Mm.
difference that I try to get my clients to understand, the difference between conforming and matching a dress code.
I love that. And that's a great segue to my next question about authenticity. One of the things you said is that authenticity is an opportunity to create impact, not just express individuality. So, how do you build authentic relationships with clients who might be hesitant at first to embrace boldness and to step into that visibility that you just described?
Authenticity for me is freedom. I saw this quote on Instagram, and I'm just going to paraphrase it. Basically, the author was talking about the idea of when we conform to fit in, we're still being judged. Why not be judged for your authentic self? At the end of the day, so the idea is at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what space you go into, there's always going to be someone who believes that either you're too much, you're not enough, or you're just something opposite to what they believe and how they expect you to show up. And trying to fit the world's view or that space idea of who you are, conforming to that, that takes a lot of energy and time that I do not have. And I'm a firm believer in this one life that I'm living. I want to be happy in it. And being happy also means being myself. And this is the same like message that I give to my clients as well. It's like, which one do you prefer? Do you prefer to be judged and lose opportunity because you're conforming? Because conforming doesn't mean that you'll get the opportunity, right? And so do you want to miss out on those opportunities that they said because you didn't look the part? Or do you want to be yourself in the spaces that you're going into and know that with your skills, with your authentic self, you're able to feel great about yourself? Because that's what it is, right? How do you feel about yourself? And so authenticity for me is a big part of the work that I do and how I encourage women to embrace that. Because if I'm authentic, just a simple fact that you thought about, how do I want to show up today? Not pretending to be someone else,
Yeah.
but making an effort to bring out more of who you are, because you didn't go shopping for this. You went in your closet, you already
No.
have it, it's who you are. But you're like, oh, you know what? I want to add a little bit, more personality to my style today. This is what I'm going to wear. That creates a ripple effect, because the audience that's watching right now may be a woman who's like, I've always wanted to embrace more of myself in the spaces that I'm going into. And she may be inspired by something or some part of this conversation today that allows her to now say, okay, I'm going to show up. I'm going to be myself. That's the domino and ripple effect of when you are authentic. And when we're able to encourage each other to be that way, we're able to, for at least how I see it, if women can be more of themselves without trying to shrink or trying to fit into a narrative, at the end of the day, we get to change the perspective of how people see us, right? That perception of how they view us or how they see us. And at the end of the day, if we can do it, then we are changing not just for this generation, but for the generations to come. They say if you see it, you believe it, right? So if we can see more of what we're looking for, we believe it's possible, and then we can show up that way.
Thank you. I love that. That's some great advice. And I'm thinking a lot about authenticity and the ways that, it took me a long time to get here where I did not put on. Remember, I think the last time we talked, I was like, I wear a lot of costumes. And it was just a matter of like, who am I going to dress up as today? Am I going to dress up as an Ally McBeal? Am I going to dress up as a Julia Sugarbaker? Like, who am I going to be today? And then I was like, no, just be Kirsten, the person who does like sneakers and blazers, the person who does love cardigans and a graphic tee. So yeah, it is what it is. So I appreciate that. And you definitely had a hand in that, because we had the whole ponytail conversation too. It's no longer a trigger for me. It's no longer a trigger. Okay. Moving to our next question. Some can say, some see style as superficial, but you have definitely reframed it as a leadership tool. When image and confidence intersect, how do you hold yourself and others accountable when they're developing their personal style and also trying to ensure it remains genuine rather than performative, like I just described, putting on a costume?
Yeah, and that's a big one, right? We talked in our first conversation growing up in that environment where stockings was the thing of the day of how women should show up when they're, in these spaces. It's wearing the black and white. It's this idea that we were supposed to, like, we're in the space, but we're not supposed to be seen, right? We weren't supposed to be present in the room, like have some form of presence in the room. And so when you think about the idea of what we wear, and some women are still wearing that costume, like, who do I need to be in this room? This room is, from the interview, you're going into whether or not it's tech, or you're going into finance, and you're going up for that interview, and you're looking at, okay, how are the men dressing, right? How are they showing up? And we try to emulate that, because that's the idea that we think we need to present. And so every day we're wearing this costume, every day we're showing up in a way that we think that we should. And so it becomes performative. It's where we're just performing based on the role. And what happens in our career is that we find that we're stagnant, right? That we are in the same space. We're doing the same things for over 15 years. We realizing that there's not a lot of opportunities for us to advance in our careers, and then in ourselves we're looking in the mirror like, who am I, right? Like who am I? Why can't I show up in this space as myself? And so for me, why I've reframed it as a leadership tool, because style, superficial in how it was defined for women. Oh, just take the wallet and go shopping, right? Oh, you want to keep a woman happy? Make her go shopping. And it's like this thing that we innately use to feel good, but it's like, just go do that. Go do that. You don't have anything else to do. Go shopping. Oh, we want to have it as a self-care thing, right? It's like shopping, therapy. It's like, no, the clothes that you wear and you decide to wear is how you present yourself. It is your confidence booster. It is how you want to be seen in the world. And so for me, when you look at it as in the corporate setting, are you wearing clothes to hide? Or are you wearing clothes to have a presence in that room along with the voice and the skills that you have? Because you can have all the skills, you can have all the certification. If no one is seeing you in that room, if you're invisible, then you miss out on the opportunities that you're looking for. And in order to do that, you have to have an image and style that truly aligns with who you are and the goals that you're looking for. And not being afraid to be the person in the room that's going to be the only person wearing colors.
Yeah.
Share an interesting thing with you. I went to it was University of Georgia. They had this women's lead poster presentation, and I was one of the judges. In the room, the young ladies had their posters, like their leadership posters. They put it up where they will tell you a little bit about themselves, their leadership qualities, some of the things that they're looking to improve on and what they're trying to do. Now, you're talking in the first instance, it probably was about 20 posters. And then you had about maybe an additional 30 persons in that space. So you're looking at 50. When I looked around the room, almost everyone was wearing black. Almost everyone. Why? Because, oh, you're going to present, make sure you dress professional. And then the note for professional was everyone wears black. So I was talking to one of the young ladies, and she was telling me, networking events is something that she struggled with the most, and it's something that she's working on. And so I shared with her my networking tip. I was like, listen to me. This is a trade secret. So I asked her the first question and said, look around the room. What is the dominant color? She's like, black. I was like, okay. Now imagine you're at a networking event. Who would you walk up to speak to first? And she looked around the room. She's like, oh, that girl in the blue. I'm like, why? She's like, oh, because she's wearing blue. She's standing out. And that happens in your career. If you're not standing out, you're not getting the opportunity. No one is coming to you to ask you how you're doing today, Kirsten. What are your goals today, Kirsten? You have to stand out to create those opportunities for yourself. And that's why I look at style as a leadership tool. It's like, where do you want to go in your leadership career and journey? And making sure that you dress for that and align yourself with that.
I love it. All right. So you have some signature programs that I mentioned during the introduction, Dare to Wear and Bold. And these are not just about clothes, they're about showing up with intention. How do these frameworks help women take a proactive approach to shaping their professional presence?
Yeah. Yeah, so those are my two programs that I absolutely enjoy, like not only teaching within the corporate space, but also, working my clients through that process for Dare to Wear. It's a lot, the name in itself is what we do, right? It's talking about what are the things that's holding them back when it comes to their personal style. When I work with my clients, is how do image anxiety? That's the big one. It's like, I don't want to wear that. I shouldn't wear this. I shouldn't do that. And so DARE is actually an acronym, which is to one, we define your identity, who you are as a person, right? Again, going back to who are you as an individual, not what you think the world is expecting you to be, and how you should show up, and all the different things and pressure that the world expects you to do. And then A is for affirm. Like once you have defined and you have a true understanding as to who you are, you have to affirm that. And that takes daily practice and work to say, I am enough. I am going to be visible within my career, within my business. And then it's releasing, because you can affirm it, but you also have to remember to release all the things that you were told about how you should be, act, and show up in the world, what you should wear, and all those things. And then we work on your personal style. What does that look like, so that you can now embrace it? And so if you were someone that always wanted to wear colors but didn't know how to incorporate that in your professional career, that's where we work on it. So you embrace it, and every single day you are daring to wear the things and show up in the spaces that you were once told you shouldn't. And then, of course, bold, that is, we've worked on releasing all the insecurities. Now we're being bold about the rooms and spaces that we're going into. And that is where we're taking now your image to now allow you to create the impact. When you show up into that room, having the presence in that space where people are paying attention to you, where people are listening to you, where you're not allowing anyone to speak over you, where you are owning your skills, you're owning the work that you're doing, and so you're showing up in a bold way that allows you to be able to get those opportunities that you're looking for, advance your career, or even making a pivot. It's like some spaces you may no longer belong in that space, but having a confidence in yourself and realizing, okay, I've done all that I could and can in this space. This space is no longer aligning with me. And I have the confidence now within myself to say, okay, maybe it's time for me to have a different career path.
I love that. So define, affirm, release, embrace.
Yes.
And then bold, is bold also an acronym?
So bold is being intentional. It's owning your choices, and then being able to leverage your, the way that you're showing up. And then, of course, D is for just declaring the things that you want to do within your career and within your business.
I love an acronym. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, we're at the last question of the main section. Oh, that feels like it went very fast. But we got a lot covered in this time. So let's get a little personal. As someone who has navigated significant life changes, including your career change, becoming a guardian at a young age, relocating from Antigua to the US, what does meeting the moment mean to you? And what advice do you have for listeners who are also facing crossroads?
Therapy. Listen, therapy, because that's a lot to handle, right? And I don't think, like, within each moment and stage of my life, I never actually sat down and thought about the impact of it. When my sister got sick and my mom had to leave with my sister, and I became the guardian of 3 other young siblings because I'm the oldest, like, you just did what you had to do, right? You did what you had to do. You didn't think about it. But I'm in that space now where I am looking back at all those things, because everything shaped what I do and who I am today. Some of it good and some of it not so good. And so taking a moment to navigate those different phases of my life in terms of looking back and seeing, okay, this is what happened. How did that impact my life at that point? You can't go back. So I never kind of look at what would I have done differently? Because what would I have done differently when my sister got sick and my mom? Nothing, right? But it's realizing, okay, were they things within that period that I felt as though maybe I would have lost out on? So going to school, I wanted to be a lawyer. Like that's something that I studied for. But having to do that, where now you're becoming a guardian for your siblings, it's okay. The bank account wasn't looking like a legal bank account, like law school bank account. So that meant that you have to go to school. You have to go to, I had to get a job, make sure that I'm working, because now I also have to support my sisters, make sure that they're okay. And so now looking, it's like, this is where I am today. I'm not going to grieve that part of me because I did something that most persons within that time or that age probably would not have been able to handle. And I don't want to say mature. I guess my frame of mind was strong enough to be able to do that. And so just kind of like navigating where I moved from Antigua and then to the US, and just looking at my life and the things, it's like resilience and strength that I didn't know I had. But at the same time, I'm going to go into therapy so that my therapist and I can work through this to know that at the end of the day, life will shift and change, but is trusting yourself, even within the moments that you didn't think that you'll make it through, to trust yourself enough to know that that moment or those moments are not defining moments. They're just adding to another chapter of your life. And at the end of the day, you get to talk about it like this, and maybe you'll cry and you try not to cry, but it's just a belief that, okay, and it's something that I think part of what I've experienced too is like, I can do anything. I keep telling people the only thing I can't do and I wouldn't recommend doing is to try to be a surgeon. But there's no role that I can't do if you can teach me and I can learn and I can Google and I can research to do. And I think all of that came from the experiences that I've had. And so my advice to anyone is just knowing that whatever you're going through right now, whatever challenges you're going through, yeah, it's horrible, and not to downplay that, and you shouldn't downplay that, because if you downplay it, I think that's what makes it harder to get out of it, is acknowledging exactly where you are, but realizing and taking action, even if it's small steps in action to get to where you want to go.
I love that. That is tremendous advice. It's very inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so here's the thing. Now, I gotta go to therapy, like she just said, and definitely meet the moments with the resilience that she talked about, and keep looking forward. But again, take those tools with you because you're going to need them in therapy to make it through. Absolutely. Like resilience gets you so far to when you can sign up and get yourself additional help and meet more, and even meet more moments, be more prepared. Build your resilience back up for the next time. So I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the heavy question. I'm going to do some deep breathing. I'm going to do some deep breathing to center myself again.
This next section, this is light work. This is light work. All light work. I promise. I promise. Oh man. I love when I get the shade from my Caribbean sisters. It's always so sweet, but yet so hurtful. They're like, oh, we come with love, but you were going to get this. You're going to get jabbed. I love it. Yeah. Okay, who is a well-known and or lesser-known historical or contemporary figure who inspires you and we should learn more about?
Okay, contemporary or well-known. So I'm going to go with Diane Carroll. So she was an there's some debates in the world of the internet whether or not she was the first Black woman to ever have her own television show. Uh, at a time when the only roles that Black women got was the help, right? And what I loved about her and her story within that moment and within that time, if you ever like look at her videos or you just kind of see cover stories or picture of her during that time, is how I'm going back to that conversation of being authentic, right? Is how authentically bold she showed up within that space. I didn't like just following her journey, never got a sense of she tried to pretend to be anything else. It's like, this is who I am. And she showed up in that role. That show, I think, was called Julia. And it wasn't a way that Black women were being depicted, right? And I remember seeing an interview where she talked about just meeting creative directors and persons for that show, and they didn't see her as that. And so for me, she's someone that I always like, I'm looking towards because she has shown the world the power of style, even when you're in spaces that weren't exactly built for you, that weren't exactly accommodating or welcoming, and showing you not just the power of your image, but also how you can use it as a tool of influence.
I love that. That's a good one. I have not had anyone mention her before, so I love that.
It's the world of fashion. That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I'm always attracted and get to that.
Okay, so maybe you'll give us one of her fictional characters, but I'm not going to try to influence you. What fictional character gives you a glimpse of yourself?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Okay.
Olivia Pope.
Okay.
Olivia Pope. I was obsessed with not so much Scandal, the show, while everybody was like, oh my gosh, what's happening on Scandal? I was like, oh my gosh, what is Olivia going to be wearing today? What her voice is going to sound like in that room where she's like, I am here. And the way she's like, I am here. And it's just like had that power presence.
Yeah.
And I was so much into it that there was this store called The Limited that came out with an Olivia Pope limited edition.
You have the white coat, don't you?
I didn't get the white coat. I got the white pants. There was this black, it was like a vest blazer that she wore. And I also got the green dress. I was like, yeah. And every time I remember, being at that time I was still in banking, but I was more on the wealth management side. And the company that I worked for, they had just told you what the dress code is. The dress code is professional, business, and you could have worn, your definition of that, but you had to meet that. And so just being able to wear that and walk into the rooms, I'm like, I am here.
I love it. Okay. Ooh, this is another good one. What's your favorite empowering quote?
Let's see. My favorite empowering quote. Let's go with, I think I'm going to go with this one from Lady O. Oprah. She talks about, there's this quote around, when you undervalue what you do, the world undervalues who you are. And I think that one is such a powerful quote and such a powerful reminder of how we show up, right? How we show up in the spaces that we're in, from how we present ourselves through our image to the way that we speak, to the way that we walk into the room, sets the tone for how people perceive us. And if we're looking to have someone perceive us as capable, competent, credible, all the things that we know that we need to be able to advance in our careers and businesses, we have to walk into that room that way. Adding a little bit to that from my grandmother, it was like, people may not like you, but the most important thing is to have them respect you, and you tell people how you want to be treated and respected. And so how you show up in that room allows you to do that.
I love it. Both of those. Thank you to your grandmother and to Oprah.
Yeah.
If you could spend a day shadowing someone in a different profession from your own, who would it be and what would you hope to learn from them?
Hmm. Different profession. I think I like the world of film and storytelling that
Okay.
happen. You're just like looking at different, how does a director come up with the stories? And I think Ava DuVernay
Mm,
is someone that I would love to follow, just kind of like shadow, because one, she started filmmaking in a time when it's like, oh, I didn't go to school for this, right? And we often think that you have to go to school, you have to do it's like, no, if you have a passion for something, you have an interest
mhm.
for it. I think honestly speaking, I mean, I don't have a degree, and I find that makes me more open to learning things. It
Okay.
allows me to step out of the box as well, and so that's someone I would love to follow, because she didn't come from that traditional background. I think her way of thinking, her way of doing things and telling stories comes from a place that how she sees the world and the stories that the world needs to see. And I think that's a great that would be a great collaboration to just go in and say, okay, how do you do it? Because it allows you to see the world and people differently and tell the things that people don't always want to see and hear, but at the same time, knowing that it's important to tell. So Ava DuVernay will definitely be that person for me.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
What is your go-to song, songs, or music genre when you want to hype yourself up to conquer the day?
Okay, so I'm super Caribbean. I am soca all day, every
Okay.
day. All day, every day. If I'm like, okay, I need that. Because it gets me dancing. I'm a carnival person too. I love
Okay.
carnival. So I played mass. And so I think that's also tied into it. I'll play, I'll put on my soca music and I'll dance myself into happiness, because soca
Um,
is therapy sometimes.
okay.
If I was supposed to pick a second one, in terms of an artist though, I love Ed Sheeran. Like I would,
Really?
yes, I love his music and just his voice. I don't know. The first time I heard a song by him, I was like, oh, interesting. And the ginger here just kind of like, yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
genre and individual. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We'll take it. It's not my first time hearing soca, but it is my first time with someone mentioning Ed Sheeran. So
Oh, I know. Yeah, he
yeah.
he he has a spectacular voice and way of telling stories through songs.
Okay.
Just yeah, yeah. He's a great songwriter too. So yeah.
I love it. Oh, this is a good one. What's the best piece of career advice you've received that you would give to your early career self?
Oh no, I kind of so when I was in wealth management, I used to go into a lot of meetings with my boss, and I was always intrigued because it gave me a perspective in terms of how men negotiate, how men
Mm,
conduct business. And I remember sitting in a room with him one day with when the client left and we were talking, and he just like, I don't remember what I asked him or what we were talking, how we got to this part of it, but he was like, you don't have to know every single thing that you're doing. You just have to make that person believe that you know exactly what it is you're doing.
mm.
And I was like, damn. He's like, no, we'll figure it out after.
Yeah.
You just if the person asks you, how do I change my portfolio from this to this, and maybe you don't have the answer in the moment, the last thing that you want to do is look unsure, right? It's like, oh, you
Mm,
know what? That's something that we will definitely have to look into. Tell me a little bit more about what you were thinking of. And I
yeah.
was like, yeah, thanks. And that kind of stayed with me. And up to this day, I'm like, I don't know how to do that, but we can figure it
We're
out.
going to figure it out. I love that too. That is great advice. Um, and I wish I had that early in my career too, because I was one of those people that tried to figure everything out. And then in that moment, like being like, if I didn't know, like thinking it was the end of the world.
Yeah.
the world. I don't know something. No, we'll
And
figure
we
it
all
out.
do that, right? We think we
Mm-hmm.
have to have the answer within that moment. It's like, no, is this something I can research? Is this something I can get back to you
Mm-hmm.
with? And just letting that person know that, hey, we're going to do a little bit more research on that to see what it looks like. Just give me a little bit more information of what you're thinking, because that allows you now to
Yeah.
formulate the plan when you actually get out the room. And so that was the best piece of advice that, I mean, I've gotten lost, but I think that's the one that stuck with me the most, because especially as women and when we're navigating these spaces, we believe that we have to always have the answer. But it's like, no, if you can
Yeah.
present yourself as the most confident person and make people believe, it's all about influence, right? And that's what he was
Mm-hmm.
doing. He was influencing his clients and believing and trusting him. And at the end of the day, he gave them the results that they were looking for, but it wasn't in the moment. It
Yeah.
was after the meeting was would have ended.
I love that. Okay. If you wrote a book describing your career so far, what would the title be?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I've never actually thought of myself of writing a book. Just never. It was just never never my thing. So I don't know what I would title my book. Maybe I guess I'll put it in terms of something for personal styling if I did.
Okay.
Maybe like dressing for the rooms that they said that you didn't belong in,
I
something
like
like
that.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I should consider writing a book.
Well, I will put you on the spot like I do many of my guests, and we'll be on the lookout for that um, fourth quarter 2026. I'm going to give you a little bit more time than I give other people. Okay.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, so before I let you go, what are some upcoming projects, initiatives that we should be on the lookout for? And then please let folks know where they can find you, follow you, hire you, uh, and learn more about Style to Impact.
Well, first, I appreciate the time that we've had today. Thank you for the invitation and coming back and having this conversation again. It's like coming back and sitting with a friend.
Yay.
Currently, like my biggest focus right now is leadership presence, collaborating with companies to come in and speak with their teams, whether or not it's from entry level all the way to executive level, because leadership presence is part of how you create those opportunities for yourself. And when we're
Mhm.
thinking about women within male dominated industries, oftentimes being the only one, oftentimes lacking the confidence in themselves, lacking confidence to advocate for themselves, and
Mm.
knowing that within those spaces, the opportunities that are available to them are very far and few in between. And the last thing that they want to do is to shrink themselves, right? We want to be able to change that landscape where women are seen as equal partners within that space. And so for me, coming in and having those leadership presence conversations, like how do you navigate the internal struggles that you're going into, that you're having a belief in yourself, and now projecting that level of confidence in the spaces that you're in. So that is what I'm working on right now, just pitching to
Okay.
companies within that space to be able to come in and do those type of workshops. Then, of course, a one-on-one. I do work with women one-on-one on their own personal style, developing their image, knowing what that looks like for the spaces that they're going into, identifying the pieces that would allow them to feel powerful and confident within themselves, and
Mm-hmm.
doing that personal shopping as well. Because most women, I hate shopping. I hate shopping, and so I, provide them with that service as well, just shopping for them so they don't have to think about it. I put together the outfits, so the only thing they have to
Cool.
do whenever they're doing that presentation or speaking engagements is like, yep, let me just grab and go put on and be powerful in the room. And so in order to collaborate with me, I am very much so active here on LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn at Solita Roberts. You can also
Mm-hmm.
find me on my website, which is styletoimpact.com. There are links to sign up for a style shift session. That's ultimately what I tell women who are looking to work with me to sign up with that first. So we have a discussion in terms of what their personal style is, what are some of the struggles are. And then, of course, for companies looking to work with me, there is a speaker page. You just click on that button, complete the form, and we will have a conversation in terms of what you're looking for.
Yes, reach out to Solita. Okay. She will help you. And then we're going to continue this series, Meeting the Moment, Embracing and Navigating Pivots. So I hope you all come back for another exciting guest here on Trap Chat. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Solita, for giving your time and for being as stylish and lovely as ever. Everyone, have a great time. Bye-bye.